Model 200 is the declaration or settlement of the corporate tax applied to the profits obtained by companies. Entities with residence in Spanish territory and with their own legal personality are obliged to submit this model to the tax office.
They must show it. Commercial firms like anonymous society, limited society, collective or labor society. State, regional, provincial and local society. Economic interest group. Funds for investing in real estate. Temp units of companies. Examples: VC funds, pension funds, and more.
Hi, I am Natasha Lopez from Entre Tramites. Today we will be presenting the Model 200. Thank you for joining us. To initiate, we must access the website of the tax agency and then click on the submission for the taxpayer's calendar declaration from the available options on the web page. Then click on all statements that are made by the model. Then, when presenting and consulting, make statements. In this listing, we will search for the model to showcase. In this specific case, we will be presenting the model number 200 as an example. Next, we'll click on Declaration Processing Service. To access it, we can use either our electronic ID or our digital certificate for identification purposes. After identifying ourselves with our electronic ID card or digital certificate, the following screen will appear where we will enter our NIF and our name or last name or business name. Then we will click on Accept. Then the subsequent screen will be displayed, where we will initially determine the type of entity, whether it is a non-profit entity, permanent establishment, partially exempt entity, or any other available options provided. We will make a decision based on our specific case. Then, we will proceed to examine the applicable regulations, including the special mining regime, the special hydrocarbon regime, and other available options, and ultimately select the one that is most suitable for our particular circumstances. In the subsequent box, we will come across additional characters. For instance, where we will click on box number 27 as an example. Taxable base, negative or zero. Next, we will identify the corresponding account statements. In the case of balance, it will be the SME model. In the case of profit and loss, it will be the SME model. Subsequently, we will proceed to identify the tax period that extends from the commencement of the tax period to the date of the year immediately preceding it, as well as the concluding date of the period immediately preceding it, which, in this specific case, would correspond to the last day of December, namely December 31st. Then, on page 2, the identification data of the company will be displayed. In this case, the period or fiscal year, the type of exercise, the SANE code, the identification number, as well as the last names and first names or the business name will be shown on the page. Next, we will proceed to the phone. In the box that comes after, we will identify the tax group, if applicable, as well as the business group, if it is applicable. Next, we will proceed with the salaried employees, incorporating both the count of permanent and non-permanent staff members. Lastly, if it is a complementary statement, please identify the receipt number of the preceding statement for reference and continuity. Subsequently, we will resume on page 3, where we will identify the information of the legal representative of the entity for further processing and analysis. Subsequently, we will move to page 4, where we will identify the relationship of the administrators in order to complete our analysis. We will input your NIF, last name, first name, and company name, along with the fiscal address and provincial code provided. Following this, we proceed to the declarant's involvement in additional entities. Participations of an amount at the end of the period equal to or greater than 5% of the capital, or a 1% rate if they are comprised of an organized secondary market. Subsequently, we will identify multiple options if it represents the nominal value, the total participation, the book value of the participation, the income derived from dividends received during the declared period, along with various other available alternatives. Participation of individuals or entities in the declaration. These shareholdings of amount are at the end of the period equal to or greater than 5% of the capital or 1% if they are securities listed on an organized secondary market. On the subsequent page, namely page number 6, we will locate the asset. In this specific case, it is identified within the category of non-current assets and also falls under the classification of current assets. Here we will enter the values corresponding to each item, and it is the case. If there are intangible fixed assets, tangible fixed assets, real estate investments, long-term investments in group companies and associates, long-term financial investments, deferred tax assets, non-current trade receivables, as well as other non-current assets and liabilities. Then we will proceed to current assets where, in our case, as an example, we include a figure. Once we have added the respective figures for each item, we will proceed to page number 7 in order to continue our analysis. Here we will continue with the topic of current assets where we will find trade debtors and other accounts receivable. We will enter the values according to how they correspond in the balance and continue with the short-term investments in group companies and associates. Short-term financial investments, short-term accruals, cash, and other equivalents of liquid assets in a liquid or easily convertible form. Then, the system will immediately display the total assets. Following that, we will proceed to page number 8, where we will input the values of net worth, equity, capital, share premium, reserves, results from previous years, other contributions from partners, exercise results, advanced dividend, and other equity instruments. Moreover, we will also include fair value adjustments, equity adjustments, subsidies, donations, and legacies received. Subsequently, we will continue with non-current liabilities, long-term provisions, long-term debts, debts with group companies and associates, long-term deferred tax liabilities, long-term deferrals, non-current trade creditors, and long-term debt with special characteristics. This comprehensive process ensures a thorough evaluation of the company's financial position and facilitates effective decision-making. Once we have identified the figures or data that need to be entered, we will proceed to page number 9, where we will navigate to the section that contains information about current liabilities. Obligations associated with non-current assets held for sale, provisions of a short-term nature. Short-term liabilities with affiliated companies and partners, to commercial creators and other accounts payable, short-term periodizations for payment, the short-term debt with unique characteristics, total, net worth, and liabilities. Automatically, the system will throw us the result. Following this, we will proceed with page number 10. Subsequently, we will proceed with the ongoing operations. The net amount of turnover, variations in inventories of finished products and work in progress, work carried out by the company for its assets, supplies, other operating income, personnel expenses, other operating expenses, depreciation of fixed assets, allocation of subsidies for non-financial fixed assets, and others, excess provisions, impairment, and result from disposals of fixed assets are all important components that are taken into consideration when calculating the company's financial performance and overall profitability. Ultimately, the negative disparity between business combinations' other outcomes and the operating result is evident. In this particular case, it provides a negative value. Moving forward with our exercise, we will proceed to page number 11. In this section, we will find the ongoing operations. We will begin with financial income, followed by financial expenses, fair value changes in financial instruments, and foreign exchange differences. The impairment and result arising from the disposals of financial instruments, other financial income and expenses, the financial result, the result before taxes and taxes on profits, and the result of the year from continuing operations, including the impact of non-recurring items and extraordinary events, if applicable. In this particular case, it will once again give us the negative value, the operations that have been discontinued, the result of the exercise from discontinued operations net of taxes, and the result of the income statement of the company. Later on, we will continue with page number 12. Here, we will find the result of the income statement. The outcome of the profit and loss accounts, as I have already stated, is negative. We will now proceed with providing the details of the adjustments to the profit and loss account outcome, where it is necessary to indicate any increases or decreases in the accounts, as well as any fines, penalties, or other applicable items that should be reported in Box 1815. In the case of losses from the game, they should be recorded in Box 343, along with any other relevant information that needs to be included. We will proceed with page number 13. In which section of the document can we find the details regarding the corrections made to the result of the income statement? In this situation, we need to input the increments or decrements based on the particular case. We will discover from the exemption on income acquired in the situations mentioned in Article 21.3, apart from transfers of securities by resident entities, two additional modifications to the outcome of the profit and loss statement. In this instance, we will indicate the values as necessary. Then the overall sum of the adjustments to the income statement outcome will automatically be displayed, and subsequently we will proceed to the detailed analysis on page 19, or we will proceed to the detailed analysis on page 26. Following this, we will continue with page number 14. In this section, we will find the taxable base, where we need to indicate, depending on our specific case, the shipping entities, the tax regime based on tonnage, and the entities that form part of tax consolidation groups. The taxable base and ultimately the small-sized entities in this instance, if there are any changes in the leveling reserve, whether they are increases or decreases. Following this, our next step will be to proceed with page number 15. In this particular case, we will continue with the calculation of the taxable base after taking into account the leveling reserve. If the situation pertains exclusively to cooperative societies, it will be indicated by the presence of box number 53 and box number 54 on the relevant form. Afterward, only Spanish economic interest groups and UTAs proceed with the matter at hand. Following only SEC entities, exclusively SOCIMIS, incomes that do not restrict the offset of taxable bases without any limitations. Following this, in the gravamen box exclusive to cooperative societies, we will proceed to dissect the previous full fee. Among the available options, we must indicate any increases or decreases depending on the specific case. This includes the full fee, the bonuses and deductions related to double taxation. Subsequently, the system will automatically calculate the positive adjusted full fee based on the selected options and parameters that we choose during the process. Other deductions include the positive liquid fee, which we will find from fiscal support for investment and other deductions, and we will automatically end up with the positive liquid fee.
For more information, remember to check our website and follow us on our social media platforms. You'll find the link in the description box below. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve with expert guidance on streamlining your paperwork, be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned to our channel.